Hello fellow Earthlings, it's Libs, and today I'm going to be sharing my favourite non-fiction reads from 2022. It has been a hot minute since I've actually filmed a video, edited a video. I was overseas for a month. I went to Vietnam and Thailand. Follow me on Instagram if you want to see the 50 billion photos I took. Link down below. Then I was jet lagged for 2 weeks and couldn't function. And then I had to do all the uni things I was meant to do during that trip. But I'm back now and I'm determined to get back on schedule. I have, I think, 9 books to share. Normally I don't separate my favourites into fiction and non-fiction, but this year was probably my best, well it's my best reading year. I think I will finish the year having read 110 books. I probably could have pushed it to 120 if I'd had the energy or brain power to read while I was away. I think I just listened to Babel for my entire trip because that's a very long audiobook, and that was as much as I could manage, and you can't rush that book. It's not possible. So I think I have 9 non-fiction books to recommend, share, talk about, converse about. I still might be a little zonked. If you can hear strange noises, it is my dog. She is distressed by all sounds, just any sound, and starts awkwardly barking and running around. It's very fun. Okay, these books are in no particular order. I know what my favourite was, but I can't be bothered ranking the rest, or it's a bit too hard. I don't typically like the idea of ranking non-fiction. I typically only rank it if it is like a favourite of mine, otherwise I don't bother. Because if I don't love it, it probably doesn't mean it was bad, it just means it wasn't for me, or it was information I already knew. I only rank it if I think there's misinformation in other books, or if I just think it's genuinely poorly written. But I don't like to rate non-fiction. But no, I just got logged out of my story graph. Oh no. Okay, so my first favourite non-fiction read of the year was It's Not About the Burqa, Muslim Women on Faith, Feminism, Sexuality and Race, edited by Mariam Khan. This is a essay collection written by lots of different Muslim women. I think most of them are UK based, but there's essays from women around the world, essentially exploring all the topics in the title. I really enjoyed this book. I think it did such a good job of exploring so many different topics and intersectionality, and just, it was really well written. Some of them were really funny, some were quite sad, but I think it just did a great job of exploring a lot of the issues that Muslim women face today and have historically faced, the ways that corporations like to use Muslim women to sell products but don't actually support Muslim women. So I think this is a fantastic book if you want to learn a little bit more about these topics, or just read some awesome essays by some awesome women. Book 2 is Found Wanting by Natasha Scholl. This is a memoir that explores grief. When the author was about 22, I want to say, her partner died suddenly during the night, and her memoir explores how she came to terms with her grief, how grief isn't linear, and it was a very sad, very profound book, and I feel weird saying I loved it, but I think it's just, I know on book 2 we've been talking a lot about different memoirs on grief recently, and I haven't really heard anyone talk about this book, and I want to mention it because it is fantastic. Book 3 is not going to be a surprise to anyone. I think pretty universally, this book is on everyone's favourites list, and it is I'm Glad My Mum Died by Jennette McCurdy. This is probably my favourite non-fiction book of the year. I mean, you guys know what this book is about. Jennette McCurdy was a Nickelodeon child star, and it explores how she was kind of forced into this by her mother, and how her mother emotionally abused her and wanted to live out her own dreams through Jennette, and how that was incredibly damaging, and Jennette's road to recovery. It is fantastic. I'd recommend this to pretty much anyone, although there are quite a few trigger warnings, so I would look those up before reading this book. Book 4 is Trick Mirror Reflections on Self-Delusion by Jai Tolentino. This book was everywhere, I think last year or the year before. It's another collection of essays, this one more exploring, I think, the media and college campuses. It explored a lot of different topics actually, and I thought it was really cool. I know not everyone is as obsessed with this book as I was when I read it, but I think if you're interested in reading some non-fiction essays about culture in general, this is a really cool book. The most fun book I probably read this entire year was As You Wish, which is about the making of The Princess Bride, written by Carrie Elwes? Wesley from The Princess Bride. I listened to the audiobook of this and it was phenomenal. He narrates it, and then the bits that are written by other members of the cast and crew narrate their sections. It is just such a fun and delightful read. I had such a great time with it. If you are a fan of The Princess Bride, read this book. Just read it. It's so fun. You get so many little behind the scenes anecdotes, and it's just so fun hearing everyone's stories and their voices. It's just made me love the movie even more. I would recommend getting, if you want to get a gift for someone who's a fan of The Princess Bride, get them this book, not the actual book of The Princess Bride. This is one scenario where the movie is so much better. Now I want to share a book I literally just finished a few days ago, and that is Not Now, Not Ever, 10 Years On from the Misogyny Speech. It is another essay collection edited by Julia Gillard, and if you don't know, somehow Julia Gillard was our first female Prime Minister. She's the only female Prime Minister Australia's ever had, and in 2012, 10 years, yeah. So in 2012, she gave the most iconic speech in Australia's history, pretty much, about misogyny to the leader of the opposition, essentially taking him down a peg because of all the misogyny she'd had to deal with because of him and the press. And this book explores kind of how the speech impacted women in Australia, and it's great. I think it'll probably make you angry. It made me very angry, but it was a good anger. So to see how far we've come, but also angry because there's still a long way to go. But this book is great if you are a fan of Julia Gillard. If you want to get a gift for someone who's a fan of Julia Gillard, this is her latest book and it's phenomenal. Another really fun non-fiction I read this year was Weird Things Customers Say in Bookshops by Jen Campbell. It's what it says it is. I think the first two sections are focused on specific books, and then the third section is a collection from all around the world, including my favourite local bookshop, which made me very happy. This is essentially what different booksellers have written down as weird things customers have said to them, or really kind of just very dumb things that customers have come in and said, like asking if they could read a book written by Jane Eyre, or going in saying like what was another one I remember was someone coming in saying they didn't want to buy the first Harry Potter book because the first book in a series is always just establishing stuff and boring. They read the second book and then came back and said they didn't want to continue the series because nothing made any sense to them. So I did laugh a lot at this book. It was a really fun time. And then the final book I want to talk to you about is 100 Tales from Australia's Most Haunted Places by Ben Pobji? I'm not sure. This I picked up at the Brisbane airport and just had a really great time reading this on the plane coming home. It's what it says it is. It's essentially just a bunch of ghost stories from around Australia. Some of them the author mocks a bit, some he gives a bit more credit to, but it's just a really, really fun read if you're interested in ghosts and hauntings and anything like that. Or if you want to know which places to avoid, or places that you now really, really, really want to go and visit on a road trip. There are a few places that I think I would like to meet the ghosts there. Okay, so those were my favourite non-fiction reads of 2022. Let me know if you've read any of these and enjoyed them down below, or let me know what your favourite non-fiction has been this year, and I will see you next time. Bye!